Hey YouTube gardeners, guess what it's time for? Y'all can probably tell by my excitement it's time to plant something, and it is. It's time to start getting a lot of things in the garden. I'm getting ready to start planting some potatoes. I could have already had those in the garden, and in just a couple more weeks it's going to be time to get some tomatoes in the garden. I have already been planting a lot of brassicas, carrots, anything that's cold tolerant. I have already been planting. So I've already got several things in the garden. What I wanted to talk to you about today was some tomatoes. I'm going to go over all of the tomatoes that I have, and for those of you that have purchased tomatoes off of me in the past and you would like to buy some this year, please let me know ASAP what you would like, because there's only limited amounts of each one. So sometimes I get an overwhelming response, so you all be sure and let me know what you would like. And I'm going to go over each one individually, show you a picture of what it looks like at maturity, and give you a little description of what those tomatoes are like, so you can make a decision on what you want with a little bit of information. So anyway, let's get to talking about some tomatoes. So the black strawberry cherry tomato is one of my favorites. I grew it last year. It takes about 60 days for that one to mature. It is an indeterminate tomato. It is also considered an heirloom. Now, Baker Creek describes this tomato as bigger than most cherry tomatoes. These are a fantastic sugar-sweet tomato flavor that is fruity with a hint of grape and plum flavors. If you relish the experience of digging into a bowl of high-quality cocktail tomatoes, then the black strawberry is your tomato. This 1-ounce fruit is marbled in blue, scarlet, and gold. A bowl full resembles a luminous and luxurious bunch of gems, and indeed the flavor is decadent and indulgent with perfectly sweet and tart balanced flavor. Now I will say one other thing about the black strawberry cherry tomato. When I grew it last year, it is definitely probably the most beautiful tomato I have ever grown, but I did not taste any sweetness in it. It tasted very much like a traditional tomato to me, but I loved using it in macaroni salad. It just made the salad so beautiful. Next on the list is the Sun Gold cherry tomato. It's an indeterminate tomato. It is a hybrid, and it is 65 days to maturity. So this is what Home for the Harvest says about these tomatoes. The tomatoes start out with a snappy tartness and ripen to a sweetness that is almost like candy, just like many yellow-orange tomatoes. Sun Gold tastes almost fruity. Sun-ripened fruits can have almost a rich tropical citrus flavor unique to this tomato variety. The gourmet tomatoes are often at the top of the best-tasting tomato list, right up there with Brandywine, Black Krim, Cherokee Purple, Black Cherry, and older heirloom classics. I have not tried this one before, but I am super excited to grow this one because, like it said, I have heard so many things about the Sun Gold cherry tomato, that it's the best tasting cherry tomato that a lot of people have ever tasted. So I'm excited to try this one. Next up is the Super Sweet 100 cherry tomato. It is 70 days to maturity. It is an indeterminate tomato, and this one is also a hybrid. So Velarde Farms describes it as scarlet cherry-sized tomatoes produce long clusters right up to frost. Cherry tomatoes bursting with sugary flavor, the scarlet cherry-sized fruits are produced in long pendulous clusters right up to frost, grow on stakes or fence. So I've also heard from so many growers the wonderful things about the Super Sweet 100, and so many of them say that it is their favorite. So I have never grown this one before either. So I'm excited to try this one. I love growing something new, and I grow new stuff every single year, and this is one of them this year. Next on the list is the watermelon beefsteak. It is an indeterminate tomato. It is also an heirloom. It takes 75 to 90 days for this tomato to mature, and Wild Rose Heritage Seed Company says this watermelon beefsteak tomato is an old heirloom from the 1800s. It is a very impressive tomato. Tomatoes are soft pink, like the color of crimson sweet watermelon's flesh. The big beefsteak tomatoes can easily achieve 1 to 2 pounds each. Sizes can vary significantly, but it is safe to say that they get very large, and they are very prolific. Nice, mild, sweet tomato flavor. Now, I did grow this one last year, but I think I planted it kind of late, and so I did not get the harvest that I really wanted off of it. So I don't think I really had enough tomatoes to give this one a fair shake. So I'm going to try this one again this year. It tasted to me like a very classic beefsteak variety, and mine did get big, but not as big as I expected them to get. So I'm going to try that one again this year. Okay, now here's one that I'm really excited about. This is a new one to me this year also. This one is called Sart roloise, and it is spelled S-A-R-T and then roloise. It has a little bit of an odd name, but it looks so delicious. And just let me read you the description from Haas Tools Seed Company. These gorgeous globes have the luster and stunning color of a stained glass masterpiece. Its beauty is only outmatched by its flavor. The Sart roloise tomato is bursting with sweet, fruity, and complex flavor with just the right acidity, owing its tropical flavor profile to its parentage. It is a cross of the white wonder tomato, which lends pineapple sweet notes, and the baby blue tomato, which explains the deep indigo blue brushstrokes on the shoulders. This variety was bred by Roland Boulanger, Sart, Utisch, Belgium. This is a large beefsteak type tomato. The big beautiful fruit weighs in at 10 to 20 ounces each, with the most captivating color and sheen, making it a must-have for market gardeners, chefs, and anyone who loves a gourmet flavored tomato with pizzazz. So it is truly beautiful, and I'm really excited to try this one. Well, it is another day. I wasn't able to finish the video yesterday, so I'm going to just continue on talking about the tomatoes until I have gone through every one of them that I have available. So stay tuned. Here we go. Now we have the vintage wine tomato. It is an heirloom. It is an indeterminate variety. It is 85 days to maturity. M.I. Gardner says that it is an incredibly stunning 1980s heirloom. A fairly new variety to the scene, the vintage wine tomato is a brandywine variety of tomato and will produce 10 to 16 ounce tomatoes. Glamorous red and gold stripes are bound to make an impression. Plants will produce an abundance of fruits per plant, requiring more substantial staking to hold up such a large yield. Sweet and mild in taste, making it a good all-purpose variety. I grew those last year, and although I did not get the amount of tomatoes I thought that I would get, I think the heat really played a toll on all of the tomatoes last year, but they were very delicious and they were also very beautiful. So that was the vintage wine. Okay, next up is the mortgage lifter, and I did grow this one last year. I did not have great results with the mortgage lifter, but again, the intense heat last year really done a number on a lot of tomatoes, so I'm going to try it again this year just because the description is so great. And it was good, what little bit I did get off of it, but I didn't get a whole lot of tomatoes. So the mortgage lifter is 85 days. It is a heirloom tomato. Large, smooth, 1 pound pink fruit, has a delicious, rich, sweet taste. This variety has become very popular in recent years and was developed by M.C. Biles of Logan, West Virginia. After cross varieties for 6 years and selecting the best, he introduced this beauty that he named Mortgage Lifter in the 1940s after he sold his plants for $1 each and paid off his $6,000 mortgage on his house. Wow, I wish I had a $6,000 mortgage on my house. But anyway, that one was pretty good, so I'm going to try it again this year. Next on the list is the Gilbertie, and this is an indeterminate paste tomato. I have never grown this before, but I'm always looking for a good paste tomato just because they don't have a lot of seeds and they're typically pretty meaty. The downside is that paste tomatoes are either usually very small or the bigger ones take a long time to develop. So I'm always trying out new paste tomatoes. I'm always trying out new tomatoes, period. So anyway, the description for this one is rich, meaty, and delicious. Beloved variety of our customers that praise it year after year. Long, slender shape with characteristically green shoulders and a slight crook in the neck. Narrow fruits average 7 inches long with very solid, richly flavored flesh that makes excellent sauces and soups. Very small seed cavity, given to Tom Stearns by Mel Bristol of Sherman, Connecticut in our catalog since 1996. So I'm excited to try this one. A lot of the information that I read was really good about the Gilbertie tomato. And I do not always have to have sauce tomatoes to make my sauce or my salsa. As a matter of fact, I like the flavor that the traditional heirlooms produce whenever you use those. You just have to be careful to get more water out. But I've got tricks for that too. Now we've got the Plum Regal, which is a determinate variety of tomato. It is an F1 hybrid, 75 days. It is also a paste tomato. So Fedco Seeds, I looked up some information, and Fedco says that they whipped up a day-long paste taste in 2019, saucing 20 plus varieties. Plum Regal topped the hybrids and had high marks, even compared to some excellent heirlooms. Its deep red sauce was smooth, meaty, with pasty, rich, full flavor and a nice acid balance. No bitter or metallic hints, and also did not air into saccharine sweet tones. Adding to the overall package, Regal is a late blight resistant and moderately resistant to early blight. Even on a determinate plant, the ability to withstand disease pressure really shows up in high yield. This variety has been making a name for itself among home canners and sauce makers. You know, you will get enough tomatoes and the end results will be delicious. Next up is one of my favorites. This particular tomato is my very favorite yellow-orange tomato. I have grown this tomato every year for the past 3 years, maybe 4 years, I don't even remember. The reason I started growing this tomato was because I heard someone comment that it was the best yellow tomato that you would ever put in your mouth. And I believed it to be so, so I tried it, and they were right. I must agree with it. So this tomato has been pronounced Dr. Whyche's, Dr. Whyche's, Dr. Whyche's, so you can look at the spelling and be the judge for yourself. So I'm just going to call it Dr. Whyche's. So Dr. Whyche's is an heirloom. It is an indeterminate tomato, and it is 75 to 85 days. It's a specialty produce describes it as being a yellow tomato that is very large, each fruit weighing up to 1 pound, and they have a slightly flattened globe shape. Their skin is smooth and relatively free of blemishes, and it ripens to a glowing golden yellow color. Their juicy, firm flesh houses few seeds and offers a lush, sweet, almost tropical flavor with low acidity. And it is so delicious. So if you like yellow tomatoes, this is your tomato. So next up is the Soldaki, I think is how you say it. It is a Polish heirloom tomato, and I forgot to write down the information on that, but I think I can remember some of it. I have never grown it before, but I love to watch James Prigioni on the gardening channel. He is always so upbeat and so fun to watch, and he's a gardener, and I love watching him. And so he is the one that sold me on the Soldaki tomato. He says that he grows that one specifically for tomato sandwiches, and that one of the downsides of this tomato is that sometimes it will split, but that he thinks that it is worth it anyway because of the wonderful flavor that comes through in the tomato sandwich. So I love tomato sandwiches, and so that is the main reason I'm growing this tomato. And the fact that it's an heirloom. I love growing heirlooms, and it's big. So I'm going to try this, and I'm excited to do so. So the next one is the chocolate pear tomato, and it is a cherry tomato. And I also didn't write down anything on that one. I've just kind of ran out of time. And I really want to get this video out so I can get everyone's tomatoes to them. So anyway, the chocolate pear cherry tomato is just that. It's a cherry tomato. It's an indeterminate variety. I would imagine with it being a chocolate, that it's going to have those smoky undertones like most tomatoes that have the black or the purple on them. So I am growing this one because someone gave these seeds to me, and so I'm just growing them because they were given to me as a gift. And so I'm always excited to try something new anyway. So if somebody's going to give me seeds, I'm going to grow them. So I'll fill you in on this one later. So if you're interested in the chocolate pear cherry tomato, let me know. Okay, so this next tomato is my very favorite tomato ever, and if you have watched my channel very long, then you already know what it is. It is the German Johnson. It is, my favorite used to be the Big Rainbow, but after I tried the German Johnson, it is my favorite now. I have a tendency to like the tomatoes that err on the side of sweet, and I think the German Johnson does that. And I could describe it for you, but I think that my description would fall short because I usually just say that it's delicious and I love it. So I'm going to read the description that Haas Tools Seed Company has given it. So they say that it is an open pollinated tomato variety that originated in North Carolina. This variety is similar to Brandywine. Now I know why I love it so much, but with more vigorous plants and higher productivity. It is a large beefsteak style tomato with that signature acidity that you expect from an heirloom variety. And I will say that this tomato also is wonderful for tomato sandwiches. Okay, moving right along. Next up is the Chef's Choice bicolor. It is an indeterminate tomato. It is a hybrid, and it is 75 days. I don't always grow hybrids, and I haven't grown a lot of them in the past, but I am hearing more and more growers talk about how they get so much more yields and about how they are so much more disease resistant. So I would really like to give these another shot. In the past, I've heard that they don't have as much flavor, but a lot of people are saying that some of the newer hybrids have great flavor, and also beefsteak and big boys, those are hybrid tomatoes, and most people just don't even realize it, and everybody loves those. So I'm going to start trying a few more hybrids. I hope to get a much better yield. They are also a lot more tolerant to heat, and last year that is why my tomatoes did not do very well, is because of the intense heat that we had. So anyway, Chef's Choice was a 2020 AAS award winner. The newest addition to the popular Chef's Choice series is here. Vigorous vines produce numerous 10 to 12 ounce globe-shaped beefsteak type fruits. Golden yellow fleshed fruits are pleasantly kissed with pinkish poppy stripes that reach to the base of the outer skins. Heirloom resemblance and hybrid rewards combine to present a sunny tomato with a superbly sweet savor. Robust disease-resistant plants mature early and produce heavy yields of thin-skinned, crack-resistant, meaty tomatoes that are outstanding for both cooking and fresh eating. And I am really excited to try that. Now, do you see what I mean? From the description, I'm excited to try this tomato. Cherokee Rose is the next one on the list. Cherokee Rose is an heirloom. It is an indeterminate tomato, and it matures in 80 to 90 days. Wild Boar Farms says that Cherokee Rose is a unique variation of the renowned Cherokee Purple. Its dusty rose appearance is so exotic and unusual that it could easily be mistaken as something completely different than a tomato. The ever so slightly fuzzy texture makes this particular mutation a true standout. Cherokee Rose also has a fascinating matte finish that blends well with its fuzzy skin. The fruit is large and meaty, usually weighing 6 to 8 ounces. True to its Cherokee Purple roots, Cherokee Rose has a richly sweet flavor that appeals to a broad audience on top of all of its other peculiar traits. It is also very generous production-wise. think I've been reading too much. I'm getting tongue-tied. I grew this last year and the year before because of its flavor. It is so delicious. It is so sweet. It is a pink tomato, but I did not get much of the fuzzy outer that it's talking about. Some of them even refer to them as peach-like, but mine were not really that fuzzy. So anyway, just to give you an idea. This is the Jerusalem tomato. It is a fairly large tomato. It's an heirloom. It's also a paste tomato, and it is so delicious. I have grown this one before. I did not get a lot of tomatoes off of the one that I grew, so I'm going to try again this year just because they are so delicious. And it is one of the bigger paste tomatoes, but the downside to the big paste tomatoes is that it takes them a really long time to mature, and I do not remember how many days it takes this one, and I didn't take time to look it up, but you will not regret growing this tomato if it makes it to maturity. It is so delicious, and it is so good in sauces and salsa. It will just knock your socks off. So try this one if you like paste tomatoes. So next up is one that I'm really excited to grow this year. It's one I've never grown before. It's called blue cream berry. It is a little tiny cherry tomato, and I love cherry tomatoes. It's probably my favorite thing to grow in the garden. Even though I love all tomatoes, this is probably my favorite thing to grow. And the yellow cherry tomatoes are so sweet. As a matter of fact, the snow white cherry is probably my most favorite cherry tomato I've ever had, and it's a cream color. So I'm really looking forward to trying the blue cream berry. So the blue cream berries cherry tomatoes are 75 days to maturity. It is an indeterminate variety. Baker Creek's description of it says, "Our favorite!" exclamation point. A super sweet cherry tomato and super prolific. These boast a delicate but complex flavor and a beautiful cream color with purple, blue splashes on the shoulders. A wild boar variety. Wild boar variety is just referring to Wild Boar Farms, which is where that tomato originated. So super excited to try the blue cream berries. Next up is the Big Boy Hybrid. Package also says that it is an heirloom. I did not know a tomato could be an heirloom and a hybrid at the same time, but that's what it says, so I'm going with it. So the Big Boy matures in 75 days. It is an indeterminate tomato. It is an old-fashioned tomato, and it has a great balance between tartness and sweetness, which is why so many people love this tomato. And now last but not least, we have the beefsteak tomato. Beefsteak and Big Boy are tomatoes that people get mixed up sometimes, but the beefsteak is a bigger tomato, so it does take it a little longer to reach maturity. It takes the beefsteak 85 days to produce a tomato for you to eat. Beefsteak is also a hybrid, and it is also an indeterminate variety. Beefsteak has a little milder taste than the Big Boy, and some people say that beefsteak is better as a slicer to put on sandwiches, while the Big Boy is better for salads and sauces. Okay, well that took a little longer than I expected, giving a description to all of those tomatoes and kind of going over each one of them individually. But that's okay, that just means we have a lot of tomatoes to grow, which is exciting. So I hope this information has helped somebody somewhere, and I hope that you all have enjoyed learning about tomatoes today. I know that whenever I get all of this content together, it helps me to learn as well. So I hope you all have enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day. God bless you all, and I'll see you next time.